What's going on, my brothers and sisters? So, I just want to share kind of a mini lesson that I felt could be, told based off of something that's just happened in my life. So, uh, what I like to do when I get, I guess, disheartened or my soul is disquieted within me, and I feel like I got to consult God about something, and I'll just go on what I like to call a prayer walk. I'll just get on my bike and I'll ride to wherever place where I feel like I can just be alone, not be bothered by anybody, and I'll just go and I'll walk, and I'll be praying, I'll be communicating with God, I'll be meditating on His Word, I'll sing, and I'll just have that alone time with God, and I'll just walk for I don't know, maybe half a mile, 2 miles. I don't know. It's just I just walk, and so I like to do that. So one night, uh, probably I don't know, maybe a week or two ago, I don't know. I did a prayer walk, and it was nighttime, and it was down a railroad way or whatever, and it was a normal clear night. It was clear. Didn't notice anything out of the ordinary. Uh, After that, I think a few days after that, I might have went on another one. I think it was a few days. I don't think it was the next night, but a few days after that, I went on another prayer walk. Not on the same place, not in the same place. Um, but this night it was foggy, so the conditions were a little bit different. One night it was clear, the other night it was foggy. I realized on the foggy night there were a lot of things that I could see that I wouldn't have saw on the clear night. Like the conditions were different for me. So like on the foggy night, for example, what I mean is I was noticing like when I started walking on the foggy night, I started to see a whole lot of spider webs very clearly, like on the trees, on the light posts, on the bridge. Like I would see them everywhere. At first, I was like, "Wow, that's pretty neat. Look at the spider webs in the light, and they look so pretty, and they're so intricate." Then I started to see them more and more and more. I'm like, "Oh, why am I able to see these spider webs so good?" So it's the fact that the water in the air from the fog is, I imagine, collecting on the strands of spider web, making them look a lot thicker than they usually are, or than they usually would be if it wasn't foggy. So I was able to see those a lot clearer. And what I likened the spider webs to, even though they looked nice and they looked pretty, I likened them to the traps of the enemy. Guess what webs are? What webs are snares to little insects and grasshoppers and flies and stuff. They're traps. So I made that connection while I was walking. I was like, oh wow, this could be kind of like the traps that Satan tries to lay, and I realized like, wow, they're literally everywhere. I saw them from when I first started on different trees and different light posts and stuff, all the way until I came back. Like they're everywhere. I didn't notice there were so many spider webs in a lot of different places, because I mean a lot of times it's not foggy, but this night it was. So I was like, okay, so there are certain conditions where you have to be able to where you're able to just realize the different traps of the enemy, like where you're able to just see him and be like, oh wow, I didn't see this, or I didn't notice this before. And so we have to, I guess the lesson is we want to be in that mindset where we're able to recognize those traps. There's a lot of them, and under the wrong mindset we might not be able to see them. And so we should strive to be able to be in that mindset. We should ask God to, through the power of the Spirit, let us see into the spiritual realm. Because a lot of these traps they're not necessarily obvious. So you have to be in the right mindset to be able to recognize this is a trap of the enemy. That is a trap of the enemy. They might look nice. They might look intricate. Oh, this is nice looking, or look at how pretty that is, or how intricate that is, or whatever. But ultimately, it's a trap. It could be a trap. So, like I said, you have to pray to the Spirit that your eyes are open so that you're in that position, you're in that mindset to be able to recognize the traps of the enemy. Because there are a lot of them. There are a lot of them. There are a lot of traps of the enemy that you have to look out for. And you have to not be deceived. Like, you don't want to be deceived by the enemy. You don't want to deceive yourself. I pray to God about that all the time, that I don't want to be deceived by myself, by my own feelings, or by the enemy. Because there are a lot of non-tangible ways that the enemy can get to us or try to trick us or try to trap us. A lot of them are mental or spiritual or emotional. It's not always, cutting our heads off like our brothers and sisters in some of these other countries. A lot of it's more intricate or not as obvious. So you have to have that discernment to be able to recognize what the traps of the enemy are. I pray that help y'all. I hope that makes sense, and I pray that y'all have a blessed day in the name of Jesus.